Hello and welcome back to Breeze GIS. Today we'll be walking through how to use the spatial join tool inside of ArcGIS. So to get started, I have a couple of layers here. I have a US county boundaries layer, and then I have a US freeway system layer. And what I'll be doing is using the spatial join tool to isolate the number of counties that surround a specific freeway. So specifically, let's say, and the best way I like to learn, and I like to learn how to use tools inside of ArcGIS is via examples and projects. So let's say I have a project that I'm working on where I want to know all of the counties that the freeway I-35 goes through in the US. How would I isolate all of those counties into a single layer? So I could manually look, and I'm going to move these around actually. I could manually look and see, all right, I'll pull up I-35, but I-35 is going through the center of the U.S. around here. I find I-35 and specifically click on all the counties that it goes through, but that would take way too long. Instead, this is a better, using the spatial join tool is a better solution than manually trying to do this. So the first thing I'm going to do is go to, and you need two layers to interact with each other in order to use this tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the US freeway system layer, and the first thing I want to do for my project is isolate I-35. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually create a definition query, and as anything inside of any kind of GIS software, whether that's QGIS or ArcGIS, there are always multiple ways to do things. There's no correct answer, and that's one of the things I love about the software is there's just so much flexibility with how you do things. So this is how I work on these projects is specifically the way I'm used to working on them, but you can do things honestly however you want. If it works, it works. There's no right answer, which is awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to specifically isolate I-35 using a definition query. And what I did is I right-clicked on my layer, I went to properties, and I'm in definition query, and I'm creating a new one. So I'm going to say numbers equal to I-35. So I'm going to say, I need to look. I can just type this. So 35 right there. And then I'm going to add, and I believe it's route number. Yeah. Okay, I'm making sure I have this right. Okay, so I'm going to type in I-35. There it is. All right, so the route number is just whenever you use these, just know what the kind of the, I guess, the feature names, the field names, sorry, the field names for all of your fields are. So route number is equal to I-35, and what this is essentially saying, the definition query that I'm using is isolating it. It's saying select only the layers that meet these requirements, and the only requirement I'm going to say is the layer has the route number field inside of the layer has to equal I-35. When I hit apply on that, and then I hit apply again, what it's going to do is it's going to only select the layers that, I guess, the parts, the different layers inside of my attribute table that meet that requirement, which I just made up here. So I applied that, and I now have isolated I-35 inside of my freeway system layer. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select this, and there's multiple ways to do this, but you can create a new layer from this if you want. But I'm just going to use this as a base. So I've now selected I-35. So this is what I-35 looks like. And using the definition query, I've isolated that inside of my layer. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to pull up the spatial join tool. So you can go into, there's a few ways to access this. You can go up to View and Geoprocessing, or you can go to Analysis and Tools to pull up the toolbox. Inside, you're going to type the word Spatial Join, and then there it is. It's under Analysis Tools. And once you have the Spatial Join menu open, there's a lot of different options here. So the first thing is our target feature. So the target feature in our case will be the U.S. county boundaries. So what we're trying to do is we are trying to target the U.S. county our county layer is we're trying to target that and select the counties that we want that are surrounding the I-35 freeway. So that's our target feature, is whatever we're trying to isolate. What we're trying to, my project is only involving counties around I-35, and so I'm going to target the county layer. So the join feature is based on the US freeway system. However, I have only one selected record in here that I used a definition query to isolate. And honestly, you know, there's multiple ways to do this. The major thing is you only want whatever class, whatever project you're working on, you want the selected records to be only the ones you're interested in using the spatial join tool on. And it's going to ask for a name, and I'm going to call this I-35 counties, and that's what it's going to spit out as. And then join operation. All right, so you can do join one-to-one or join one-to-many, and I'm going to join one-to-one. And this is also an important box right here. It says keep all target features. So if you have this selected, it will spit out a layer that has all of the same features that your original layer did. It's just going to have kind of numbers to differentiate whether or not the different features met the requirements in your layer. So personally, I like to uncheck this. So what this allows me to do is whenever I return the layer and run it, it's only going to return the features in the layer that meet this requirement that I'm making right here. And I'll show you what I'm talking about in a second. But essentially, it's only going to show me the counties that actually surround I-35. It's going to show me the counties I want. So I'm going to uncheck that. The next one is match option. There's a lot of different options here. So you can do within a certain distance, you can do contains, you can do within, completely within, overlapping. There's a lot of different options. And so this spatial join tool has a lot of applications, which is really cool. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, let's see, I'm just going to say intersect. So I'm going to say all of the counties that intersect the US freeway system layer, which only has one feature selected, it's the I-35 feature. All of the counties that intersect I-35, return those. That's what I'm saying. So, and it's going to give me a radius, and I don't believe I need a radius. Intersect, it should, yeah. All right, and so yeah, you can put a radius in there if you want, but I just want to intersect, and as long as it's intersecting in some capacity, that's good enough for me. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck all of that, and boom, there you go, right there. So what this has returned for me is all of the counties that intersect, and I did not provide a specific radius requirement. I just said as long as it intersects, that's good enough for me. All of the counties that intersect I-35 are selected and are now returned. So when I open up the I-35 counties layer that I just created, all of the features inside of this layer will be ones that intersect I-35. And so now if I'm working on whatever projects I'm working on and I'm only concerned in the counties that surround I-35, I have those selected. So and now I can continue with whatever project I'm working on. So that is how you use the spatial join tool. The spatial join tool is very cool, and it is very useful for isolating data within a layer based on its relationship with another layer. And so, whether you have lines, polygons, or points within a larger feature layer, you can, isolate data inside of the feature layer using that points, lines, or polygons, whatever you have. And it's really cool. There's a lot of applications for this, but this is just one example. And I hope this example has given you a good idea of how to use the spatial join tool and how you can take a, one layer and then use a spatial relationship to isolate another layer and then use that data for whatever project you're working on. I think the spatial join tool has relatively limitless applications and uses. I will definitely be using that in a lot of projects going forward. But like I said, I like to learn via examples and applications. And so I think this is a good example to help give you at least an introduction into the spatial join tool. But like I said, there's a lot of different match options to explore. The distance one is really cool. I use that one as well. It's within a distance, and you can do like meters, and then you can say, only select layers within like 10 meters of, and that's a really cool application. So the spatial join tool is really cool. Lots of applications for that. I hope you have a better idea of how to use it, and I'll definitely be using it in future projects. So I really appreciate you watching. Thank you for watching this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you, and bye.